What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the next video on learning object-oriented Python. My name is QDS Dan and you guys watching my channel Coriowood. In this video we're going to talk about the encapsulation and we're going to talk about the abstraction. So knowing encapsulation and knowing abstractions are very important when it comes to becoming a very expert Python programmer. So what is encapsulation? In simple words, encapsulation is data hiding. Hiding from who? Hiding from thieves, hiding from bank robbers, or is hiding from the rest of the programs. So encapsulation is the fundamental concepts in object-oriented programming in Python or is in any programming language. So encapsulation in simple words is a process of combining variables that stores data in method that works on the variable into a single unit called class. The variables are not accessed directly. It is accessed through the methods present in the class. So with the encapsulation, we make sure that the object's internal representation, the state and behavior are hidden from the rest of the application. So we are not hiding the data from the thieves, our robbers, from the bank robbers, our ATM thieves. We are hiding from the rest of the application. For example, you cannot access your variables directly outside the class. Imagine if you have a variable, for example, login, and you have a variable register, and if someone's gonna come in outside the class, what would happen if they gain access to your variables inside the class? So you have a login, for example, if it's 1, our login is true, and someone gonna come in and access this one from outside the class. It means it's gonna be disaster for your application, because you have to make sure that this is hidden from the rest of the program. It is hidden, so no one knows about this variable. If it's inside the class register, it stays inside the class register. And what you're going to do with your application, then for example, you're going to put a login, for example. Then you're going to put all security measures inside the place, so no other programs can come and access this login, for example, because you don't want any other class inside your program or outside from your application to have access to this login, because logins should be hidden. It should be hidden from the rest of the program. The rest of the program has got nothing to do with the login, because the login is a separate entity inside your program that logs people in. Say for example, in the case of every programming language, in the case of PHP or C++, so when you log in, it's very important that is hidden from the rest of the program. So if for example a post or MySQL, they don't know anything about the login, that there is a login button there, and the login, that's a function of the login or the register, because that's the sensitive parts of your application, and that because it deals with the security. That's exactly true with encapsulation. So in other words, encapsulation ensures that the object's internal representation, as we said before, are hidden from the rest of the application. So in other words, data hiding means that in order for the data anyone to come and access the data stored in a variable, everybody must use the methods that we provide in our application. As we said that, say for example, if I'll give you another example. If you have a program and your programs, for example, have data here, and it has an age, for example, or age of all your users. If another guy comes in and uses the same variable, then your program is going to be confused. Your program is going to say it's very ambiguous. Which age are you talking about? Are you talking about the age in this class, or are you talking about the age another class? So with the encapsulation, you can hide this age from the rest of the application, not from the thieves or not from the robbers, from the rest of the application. So the rest of the application can use this age again. Even if they want to use, they can come through the methods, for example. And this is called encapsulation, data hiding. It means we're going to hide our data from the rest of the application. Whereas now we're going to come in with abstractions. That abstraction is, as the name suggests, is implementation hiding. You are going to buy a car, you are drive your car, switch on and starts acceleration. You don't need to know what's happening inside the engine, how the car implements its functions. So you don't need to know the internal working of the car and how it's implemented. For example, if it's computer, you don't need to know what's happening inside the computer. If you're buying mobile phones, you don't know what's happening inside the covers of that mobile phone. So abstraction is a process where you show only relevant, whatever relevant to the user, such as you put a buttons on there, and you put a gears there, you got a steering wheels there, you put a accelerators there, you put a brake there. And because you gotta hide all the implementation from the drivers or from the users. And in the case of computers, you only make the buttons visible, whatever visible to the users. Or in the case of mobile phones, you're going to put only the menu or something visible to the user, so user can interact with the mobile device. And this is called abstraction. So encapsulation is data hiding, and abstraction is implementation hiding. Say for example, you are making airplane, and the airplane is a fighter jet, and fighter jet is very, very complicated. The pilot, whoever is gonna take that airplane to skies for fighting purposes, they don't need to know what's happening inside the engine, what you use inside the engine, how do you implement the engine. All they need to know, all the controls. Where is the controls? So you need to know the controls. Where is the ejection seat? How to eject in the case of emergency? How you use the radars, for example? How to press the firing buttons? For example, how to steer the airplane, and how to do different speeds and maneuvers, whatever you want to do. So the pilot, they don't need to know the engine, how the mechanics or how the company implemented the engines, what's happening inside the engine, what's happening inside how the engines behaves in a certain situation. All the pilot cares is how the speed of the plane, the height and things like that. All the pilots needs to be trained for the controls of the airplane. Just like when you go and buy a car, you don't need to know what's happening under the hood. All you need to know is what's the horsepower, is it pricey or is it cheap, what company, what color. All you need to care about the color and look of the car. Is the car looks cool, or is it sporty, or if it's for family, or is for say camping, whatever the purpose is. You're buying car, all you care from the external look of the car, not inside the internal. You don't care how the Ford or how the GM or how the General Motors or how the Toyota or Honda implemented the engine. You don't care about that. You don't want to know. You don't want to know how the Toyota connected the say steering wheel to the engine, or put the belts and put the radiator, on how the internals of the combustion, whatever inside internals of the car working. You don't need to know. And that this is called abstraction. So abstraction or implementation hiding, and encapsulations or data hiding. So I'm going to put it here, data hiding. And abstraction is implementation hiding. Alright, so now we're going to come and create a class, and we put a class calculator. Now we're going to create a program to calculator. We're going to do encapsulation. We're going to hide all our data from the user, but we don't want anyone to know. And once it's done, we're going to do how we implement it. It's just a very small example. So how we're going to do that, and we're going to put a constructor, and our constructor is going to be self, and we're going to our calculator takes two numbers. Say for example n1 and n2. Say we put a n1 number 1, and we put a n2, and here we put a self dot num1 equal to n1, and we put a self dot num2 equal to n2. Okay, so now our constructor is going to take two arguments here, num1 plus num2. We're going to implement some methods here. The first one is going to put a addition, for example. and we put a return, and we're gonna put a self dot num1 plus self dot num2. Okay, you can copy this one, and you can make another one, say for example negation, or you can make multiplication, and multiplication, you guys just add a multiplication here. That's it. So now we have created class calculator. Now these are hidden from the outside of the class. You don't want to show the n1 and n2 from outside the class, because that's inside our constructor. And here we have num1. Here we are implementing this one. We want everyone to come through our methods. And what's our method? Our method is addition. Our method is multiplication. So we put our main, and we're gonna put a if name main. You guys should be expert by now on the main. And this guy here, we have to put a here, so the error gonna go away, and you can put it on the side. And here you need to instantiate this one. We put a result, and we put a calculator, and inside the calculator we put a 5 and 5. Now we're gonna say result. Actually we need to put in print. We put a print, we put a result dot addition, because you want to print this one addition. You can do the multiplication as well. So now we have a 5 times 5 plus 5 is going to be 10. So we're going to come in and run, and what we're going to run, we're going to see encap. So that's our encap. We're going to run, and you guys are going to see it's 10. So we have implemented our here calculator. We have a very simple program. In the future we're gonna see another examples as well. We have a num1 and num2, and here we have implemented our addition method, but people who are using our calculator, they don't know, they should not know, and all our data is hidden from the rest of the program. So another program, they don't know about this num1 and num2. This is called encapsulation. And when we implemented these methods, the user, they don't need to know about our methods, how we implemented the num1 addition for the num1 and num2. And for example, we're gonna put another print here, and we put a result. If the user wishes to multiply, they can do so by all means, but they don't need to know. For example, and it's 25. You can put a division, you can put anything you guys like, whatever you guys like, but now the user's only using the buttons. Say for example 5 times 5, that's a button here. In our program, the user is using buttons, but the user, they don't need to know about this, how we implemented these methods, what happens under the hood. Say for example, you guys gonna go and buy a car. You don't need to know about the engine, how the engines, how the company implemented the engine, how the internals working. Say for example the engine, the belts, the radiators, the battery, how the battery is connected to the engine, or how the battery is connected to the lights, how the rear lights working, how the stop lights working, how the gearbox working, how the whatever is installed, how the electrics of the car working. You don't need to know anything of this, because it's hidden from you. What happens under the hood, you don't know. That's called abstraction, because you're hiding all the implementation from the user. Same when we go in real world and create a calculator, you don't want users to know about anything about the internals of the calculator. You just put some sort of cover, and you put some sort of screen so the users can see, but you don't want anyone to come open your calculator and see the internals of your calculator, how you implemented that. Same is true with every machinery, be it fridges, be it microwave ovens, be it every TV. Say for example, the TV guys, they don't want you to know anything about the internals of the TV. All they want you to look at the screen and changes the channel. But you can see the buttons, you can see the remote control, you can see whatever you want to see, and whatever the company or that engineers want you to see. So anything beside that, if they don't want you to see anything, you can't see that things, because this is a process of abstraction. And implementation in program is the data hiding, not from the thieves or you, from the robbers or from people who's going to steal your data. It's not gonna, they can't steal your variables here, but is hidden from the rest of the program. So the rest of the program, they don't need to know about this num1 and num2. Only this class needs to know, because this class I'm doing the implementation. The rest of the program, they need to know about these methods. Throughout our program, we are using methods everywhere, methods inside the Python. We have used different methods. Say for example, request. We have used the methods of knowing the mathematics, the square root of all sorts of the method throughout our programming. Here we have used a lot of inbuilt methods, but Python, they don't want you to know how they implemented that method, because you don't need to know how we use the beautiful soup, we use the request, we use the web with the different Python functions. But the Python, they don't want you to know about how they implemented, and all they want you to look. So for example, the Python created this constructor here. All the internals of this constructor is hidden from you. But there exists somewhere, is written, Python already implemented this one, but we as a programmer, we don't know how the Python implemented this constructor. All we come here and we just use it. So we just use this one, we just use a class, we just use a constructor, we just use a destructor. And as a previous video, I have shown you all the built attributes inside the Python. We just use it, but we don't know how the Python is implemented that one. And keep in mind that's also, this also is hidden. All the methods inside here is hidden. All the variables inside this constructor, which is implemented by Python, is hidden from the rest of the program. All we know that if we put this def in it, and we put a self, and we put our parameters here, that's our constructor set. That's all we know. So that's how the encapsulation and abstraction works in Python. Alright, that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe Coriowood. If you have any question or comment, leave it in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.